for life. So CalBank says, forget the cash. Enjoy a life beyond cash when you use any of our digital solutions, whatever you desire. We have a unique solution for you. Shop online or in-store using a range of debit and prepaid cards. Cards available include Visa, MasterCard, and GH-Link. You can also shop and make payments from a variety of virtual shops located on the CalBank app. Additionally, our app and CalNet solutions support you and your business to perform all your transactions, including regulatory payments to government via the Ghana.gov platform. It's a one-stop shop. So whether you're shopping, transferring funds, or traveling this summer, winter, just do it with CalBank. You also get to earn great discounts of up to 20% from our range of partners when you pay using our channels. To learn more about our digital solutions and partners, call us on toll-free 0800 500 500 or chat with us online on our social media platforms and on WhatsApp. You can also contact us via email at customercare@calbank.net. Visit our website, calbank.net, to know more about our discount partners. Forget to cash. Simply go digital with CalBank. CalBank, forward. Together. Afia Dengba.
Efo. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah.
And I was going to say Akpafu. I realized Akpafu is not here.
He's not here. Yeah.
How are things? Someone told me that the city is now...
it's growing by the day. Yeah.
Growing by... I mean...
Yeah.
It must stop growing.
Why?
The city must stop growing. It is affecting business in this country. And so there are many of you who have asked the question, when are we going to close this IMF deal once and for all? Because it is believed to be the panacea to, solving all our problems.
Exactly.
We have said once we close that deal, there will be confidence within the Ghanaian economy. And once we have balance of payment support, we can actually meet the demands of, the populace when it comes to dollars. And so that demand would not lead to a rising dollar and a depreciating Ghana cedi. Unfortunately, yesterday in some of the Forest Bureau, you could buy $1 for 13 Ghana cedis.
13 cedis, yeah.
Yeah, so some of the boys have started joking that the cedi is now a teenager and all of that. This morning, we want to do something. We want to go to the U.S. Government has concluded its meeting with the IMF. We want to find out the outcome of that meeting. Can we get a deal before the end of the year? Yes, we know, we have the broad agreements on what we intend to do or what our program should be. And so that could be captured in the budget. But can we get a deal? Because the IMF is insisting on a debt restructuring plan. Where are we?
And I don't know, but I feel government by now should tell us something. In as much as they've not, formalized the engagement with the IMF yet, I believe they should tell us something. When you keep information flowing, it gives some sort of assurance to, investors and all of us out there. So I believe government should be speaking by now. Tell us something.
Well, government is engaging, they formed a 5-member committee to engage the financial sector. And that engagement is ongoing. We'll find out. We'll talk about all of these here on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. But it's now time for the Joy Business Report with Pius and the team.
Hello everyone, warm welcome. This is the Joy Business Report. Coming up, World Bank Group President expresses disappointment over Ghana's decision not to subscribe for a debt suspension initiative as the country struggles to deal with the risk of debt distress. Also, government to submit formal letter and full economic document to the International Monetary Fund as it races to close fund program before end of this year. And also in this bulletin, Ghana's only hope for stabilizing the cedi against the dollar rests with an announcement of an economic program with the International Monetary Fund for the country. We'll hear from a US-based associate professor of finance. We've got details of these and many more shortly. Grateful for your company. I am Pius Kojo Baka. A look at our stories now. The World Bank Group President, David Malpass, has indicated his disappointment over Ghana and Nigeria's decision not to sign up for the debt service suspension initiative. The program put together by the IMF and World Bank offers countries an opportunity to freeze debt servicing whilst they concentrate on using the funds to deal with other commitments. Now, the World Bank president was responding to a question at a program in Washington, D.C. over calls that enough is not being done to cancel the debts of some African countries.
So Nigeria and Ghana both did not ask for common framework treatment. Kristalina and I were talking yesterday with the group about it. Part of if countries could have a situation where the common framework caused or allowed the country to have a standstill on their debt, that would help the countries choose their path forward on debt restructuring. That would mean they would get a break on debt payments while they're working out a restructuring agreement with the world. But Nigeria it hasn't gone that route. Some of the challenges on Nigeria, and I've talked, been involved with them for some time, is the dual exchange rate or the multiple exchange rates that are used. That makes it very hard to have capital flowing in an efficient way within the country. Also, the trade policies tend to be protective on the import side.
World Bank President David Malpass speaking from Washington, D.C. Now, government is now expected to submit a formal letter of intention as well as a full economic program document to the IMF by the end of this month. But what will be contained in this letter and how is this different from the economic document? George Biafe has more.
The formal letter, which will be addressed to the IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva, will give fine details about government's intention for this fund program. It will also spell out commitment that government is willing to undertake should it be able to secure the program with the IMF. Some have described this letter as a legal paper, as the IMF could hold government accountable should it fail to implement some of the reforms aimed at securing this financial support from the IMF. This letter is expected to be signed by Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Anderson. The IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva will also respond to this letter, stating the fund's commitment to support Ghana in its request or otherwise. Joy Business is learning that government would also submit a full economic document to the IMF, as the initial one can be described as a draft paper. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is hoping to close an IMF program before the middle of next month. Based on what we are monitoring here in Washington, D.C., the IMF itself is committed to giving a program to Ghana. But the big question is government committed or willing to undertake the necessary reforms to secure this program? And what will be the outcome of the current debt sustainability analysis being carried out? A report that will shape Ghana's program and also tell us the impact or the cost of this fund program to Ghanaians.
My colleague George Biafe with that report from Washington, D.C., USA. To one of our headline stories, and Ghana's only hope of stopping the free fall of the cedi against the other major trading currencies is an announcement of an economic program by the International Monetary Fund. Well, that's the view of US-based Associate Professor of Finance at Andrews University in Michigan, Williams Pipra. Now, the dollar hit 13 cedis to $1 yesterday. Already, the Ghana Union of Traders Association has closed their shops to express their displeasure about government handling of the economy. Professor Pipra tells Joy Business an IMF program will stabilize this economy.
The only hope that we have now is to get Ghana plugged into an IMF program. History gives us this hope that anytime Ghana is plugged into an IMF program, we see that inflation rates become stable and also reduces. The seasonality of the Ghanaian economy affects all governments. Indeed, the foundation of the Ghanaian economy is very, very weak, and that is why we have seen the sharp decline or devaluation of the cedi. The hope is that Ghanaians will survive the inflation rate. History points to changes in government policies and when inflation keeps increasing. We are hoping that IMF bailout will help us to find a sustainable economy.
William Srifra is a US-based associate professor of finance at Andrews University. Now, smallholder farmers are calling for government assistance to increase maize production as they fear the high cost of fertilizer may lead to low yields. Basic farm inputs such as fertilizer saw an increase in price over 50% due to shortage of the commodity from Eastern Europe as a result of the Russia war against Ukraine. Speaking to Joy Business, Programs Officer at the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Dr. Charles Nyaba, warned that there could be a shortage of maize, which could also affect feed production for the poultry industry.
We are likely to have some little challenges when it comes to maize supply this year. This is because a maize is a heavy feeder of fertilizer. So because of high cost of fertilizer this year, many farmers who were doing maize actually shifted to produce other crops. Right. So the number of farmers who actually did maize this year are lower than those who did last year. When you also take rice, I think it's the same story.
Dr. Charles Nyaba is the Programs Officer at the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. More on food production, and the Ghana Vegetable Producers and Exporters Association has predicted prices of tomatoes to go up from next year. According to the association, Ghana's tomato imports from Burkina Faso currently stands at $400 million, which is a huge jump from $99.5 million recorded in 2018. Ghana imports almost 90% of its fresh tomatoes from Burkina Faso, with the country's national consumption hinging at some 800,000 metric tons per annum. Now, the association is therefore calling on policymakers to urgently put in place measures to boost local tomato production in order to forestall any shortage in tomato supply next year. Dr. Felix Kamasa is president of the association.
We advocating that if government can have good mechanization system, we can produce this because we had the same climatical area like a Burkina. And now, what will happen that next year tomatoes is going to be a very expensive because know that Burkina, the kind of crisis they are now, and the Ghana crisis is the terms of the dollar going up. When you go up, it affects input, seed dealers, fertilizer dealers. So we are just pleading that the policymaker, this what we have gathered on the ground. What are they doing to save the situation? Otherwise, next year is going to be worse than this because a lot of farmers are going to withdraw production. What is happening to our mechanization farm?
President of the Ghana Vegetable Producers and Exporters Association, Dr. Felix Kamasa, speaking there. Now, the African Development Bank has declared its readiness to support government's industrialization program aimed at creating jobs for the youth in the country. According to the bank, this is aligned with initiative of enhancing the economic value of member countries on the continent. Speaking to commission the Common User Maize Processing Factory in the Ashanti region, country manager for the bank, Yerula Salem Fasika, told Joy Business that the bank has sponsored many of such establishments as part of its livelihood enhancement program.
Aligns our strategy with the government strategy. If you look at this program, it is very much aligned with government's private sector development agenda, industrialized agenda, particularly on one district, one factory area. In addition, this is a program that will be enhancing, the maize productivity by value adding. Value addition is an important area that we are, looking at in an agriculture sector. Also, the job creation aspect, especially.
That's Jerusalem Fasika, is the country manager for the African Development Bank, and we do apologize for that poor quality sound there. On the commodities market, crude oil price went up marginally to $93 a barrel this morning. Gold gained more than $5 to open trading at $1,634 a ton. Cocoa is selling at $2,308 a ton after increasing by $3. On the currency market, the cedi's depreciation continued as it's going for 13 cedis to the dollar this morning. It is also selling at 13 cedis 80 pesos to the pound sterling. On the other hand, it is trading at 11 cedis 90 pesos to the euro. And that's it for the Joy Business Report with me, Pius Kojo Baka and Winston.
Pius, thank you very much. Ghana City 13.
Yeah.
So this morning, our focus is very simple. We want to find out the status of Ghana's program with the IMF. We'll be going to the U.S.
Very important.
We'll be finding out whether Ghana can actually close a deal before the end of the year. And we'll also be asking other questions. We'll be finding out what's been government's attitude towards this whole deal, because we need a debt restructuring plan. How is government going about it? For the watchers, what are their assessments of government's posturing towards the IMF deal? Does it look like government wants to even close a deal before the end of the year? And if we're unable to close a deal before the end of the year, what could happen to the Ghanaian economy?
And these are great questions we need to follow up on.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Pius, for joining us with the Joy Business Report. Time now